start by finding a comfortable seated position. You could have your legs crossed, you could have your legs out in front of you, or if it's more comfortable, you can come into a kneeling position. You could place a cushion underneath you as well, if that works best for you. This is week 1 of the 6-week Yoga for Beginners and Improvers course. We're going to start with a few minutes of meditation. So decide if you would like to close your eyes, or perhaps find a point to focus the gaze in front of you. Just see if you would like to make any small adjustments to your posture. So you can be comfortable for the next few minutes. And to begin with, starting to become aware of the sounds you can hear inside and outside of the room that you're in. Just letting those sounds flow in and out of your awareness. And then start to draw your awareness down to the contact with the floor beneath you. So just noticing where on your body has contact with the floor. Noticing if there are any particular sensations where the body meets the floor. There's no right or wrong. We're just starting to draw our awareness into the present by seeing what we notice. And then starting to draw that awareness into the body. Perhaps scanning down from the crown of the head to your toes. So mentally checking in with each part of the body. Noticing how you're feeling physically today. Noticing if there are any particular sensations of pain or discomfort that you might want to be mindful of as we practice. But equally noticing if there are any areas of the body that might feel relaxed or spacious. Just taking a full stock of the body today. And then starting to draw your awareness down to the breath. So to begin with, you might just start to notice where you can feel your breath in your body. For some of you that might be the air as it comes in and out of your nose. It might be the rise and fall of your chest. It might be the rise and fall of the belly. And if placing a hand onto a chest or the abdomen helps, feel free to do that. For some people it's not particularly comfortable to feel into the breath, particularly when they're first learning yoga. And if that's the case for you, draw your awareness back down to the contact with the floor. Just noticing any sensations that come and go. If you are focusing on the breath, just taking a moment to notice the rhythm and seeing if you can perhaps allow the breath to slow a little, creating a smooth rhythm. And one of the ways to do this is to count the inhale and the exhale. So you might inhale for 3 and exhale for 3. You can count faster or slower, perhaps 2, perhaps 4. The number itself isn't important, but it's finding that rhythm that feels smooth, that feels natural for you. Our first yoga practice is going to be about feeling grounded. So there are going to be opportunities throughout the practice to reconnect with the contact with the ground, to reconnect with that breath. Moments to pause and be present. So taking another couple of breaths or moments here. And as you inhale, we're gently going to reach the crown of the head up towards the ceiling, any amount. We're going to start with some neck stretches. So as you exhale, we're going to let the left ear come down towards the left shoulder. Perhaps adjusting the chin till you find a place that you would like to pause, being mindful of how much sensation you might feel along the opposite shoulder. You can hold here if this feels good for you, or if you would like a little bit more movement tonight, you might start by taking some semicircles across the chest, moving from one side to the other. If you are pausing, taking an inhale to come back to center, and exhale, moving over to the other side if you would like to. You may keep moving. You may add in some pauses, really making it your own. And then gently coming back to center. From here, we're going to come into our seated twist. So again, your legs can be however is most comfortable for you. We're going to bring one hand to the opposite knee, so you could bring your right hand to your left knee, left fingertips just behind the mat. Inhale to reach up. Exhale, starting to twist around any amount. The gaze might start to twist around as well. Knowing that you decide how far you move into this posture. And as we take a few moments in this movement, perhaps noticing the contact with the floor beneath you. Which parts of the body have contact with the floor? Are there any sensations there? And then gently coming back to center. We're going to reach the opposite hand across. Fingertips just come behind the back. Inhale to reach up. Exhale in to twist any amount. Again, you decide how far you move. Each side is a little bit different. You do not need to move the same amount on each side. Responding to any sensations that are different. And then again, perhaps tuning in with this contact with the floor beneath you. The legs, the hands. One more moment here. And then gently coming back to center. Bringing one hand just the outside of the hip. Inhaling to reach the opposite hand up. And exhaling as you reach over to the side for a side bend. Again, you decide how far you're reaching over. Some people find they need to draw this top shoulder back a little. Some people don't. So perhaps exploring to find where you would like to pause. Perhaps feeling the hand pressing into the mat. Or the breath into this rib cage that is reaching and stretching. One more breath. Gently coming back to centre. Any movement that you want to take. And then moving on to the other side, letting the hand come down, inhale to reach up, exhaling as you reach. Again, gentle movements as we come into each stretch so we can decide where we would like to pause. Feeling this hand pressing into the mat, bending that elbow as much as you would like to. Perhaps feeling the breath into the opposite ribcage. One more. Inhaling back to centre. Any movement that you need. And then we're going to reach the arms out wide. So this is to warm up the shoulders. So we're going to take some circles with the hands, coming from the shoulders so the arms are straight. The movement comes from our shoulder joints. You can move in any direction you would like to. You can make the circles big, or you can explore small circles. You can move fast or slow. Whatever options you take, just slightly drawing in the core for a bit of support. Perhaps changing direction. Shoulders might start to feel a little bit warm at this point. Feel free to take a break when you need one. Couple more moments. And then gently releasing any movement that feels good for you. We're going to work our way onto our hands and knees into a tabletop position. Roughly our wrists are underneath our shoulders, knees underneath our hips, but there can be some variation just depending on your hips, your shoulders. We're going to take some cat-cow, so as you inhale, pressing down through the hands, dropping the belly, lifting the chest, lifting the gaze. Exhale again, pushing through the hands, but this time in the back rounds, chin comes to chest. Inhale to lift. Exhale into round. Inhale, lift. Exhale, round. One more time, inhale. Exhale. Gently come back to centre. We're going to do a movement to warm our hips up, so I'm going to demonstrate first and then we'll do it together. So we're going to stay in tabletop. We're going to draw that belly button in, and you might want to move your knees a little bit closer together. From here we're going to pick one knee up off the mat, and then as we exhale we're going to send the knee out to the side. Inhale back to centre. Exhale out. Inhale back to centre. We're going to do 5 rounds of that, and then we're going to send the foot back and back, come back to centre. Again, 5 of those. The whole time that we're here, we want to try and keep the belly button drawing in, the hips as still as we can get them, shoulders drawing apart. So let's inhale, draw belly button to spine, lifting the left knee up off the mat. Exhale, knee goes out to the side. Inhale. Exhale. You can do it without the breath. Inhaling, exhaling, just breathing naturally. Into centre, knee out to the side. Last one, into centre, out to the side. Into centre, this time foot goes back, knee stays bent. Back to centre. Exhale to send the foot back. Inhale back to centre if you want to add the breath. Or foot comes back, knee to centre, 2 more. Last one. Gently releasing. Give the legs a little shake. And then same on the other side, pressing down through the hands, shoulder blades drawing apart. On your next exhale, the right knee goes out to the side. Inhale to centre. Exhale out. Inhale, center. Out to the side. Back to center. 2 more. Out to the side. Back to center. Last one. Out to the side. Into center. And then back. Center. Exhale back. Inhale, center. Exhale back. Inhale, center. 2 more. Back. Center. Back. Center. Lovely. Gently releasing. Widening the knees a little. Bringing the sit bones back towards the heels, doesn't matter if they reach. And then coming forward into your child's pose. The head is coming towards the mat. If it doesn't reach comfortably, you could place a cushion or a block underneath the head for some support. We're going to take 3 breaths here. And child's pose is an alternative for downward facing dog throughout this practice, or any point you would like to come into this posture. On your next inhale, gently coming into your tabletop position, tucking the toes, lifting the sit bones, coming into downward facing dog. From here, perhaps soften the knees, have a bend into the knees, particularly if this is the first downward facing dog you've done, or the first one today. The backs of the legs can be tight and we want to focus on lengthening through the spine. So soften those knees, belly button draws in, hands put. I'm going to take 3 breaths here. Feeling the feet touching the mat. Feeling the hands pressing into the mat. And then gently walking the feet to the hands at the top of the mat. Coming into your forward fold. So softening through the knees. Again, first forward fold of the day. We want to keep those knees bent. And if you've got any problems with your lower back, perhaps keep a soft bend into the knees but keep the spine straighter, palms onto the shins. If you're folding forward and rounding, you might take hold of opposite elbow and gently sway from side to side. And then gently releasing, soften into the knees, and curling the spine. Any movement that you would like to take. We are going to come into some sun salutations. I'm just going to quickly demonstrate for the people who are new a couple of bits just so we know what we're doing, and for those of you who've done it before, just a reminder of the key points in some of these postures. So, sun salutations are a sequence of movements we're going to work through together. At one point you're going to come back into a plank pose. So, the first thing to think about with plank is that it's strong, the body is long, the core is engaged, the bum is down. The temptation is to do this because it makes it less intense on the core. But it won't really help and it won't build any strength. So we need to come here and you can then drop the knees if you need to. From here we're going to be lowering down. So we're going to let the elbows come back, the belly button draws in and we slowly lower towards the mat. From here we inhale to reach up and then we exhale to push back, downward facing dog. If you have the strength, you can lower down without the knees. Again, belly button is drawing in and we lower down from here. If you are going to take that option, it's really important that you can keep the belly button drawing in the whole time so that you move with control. The other thing, so once we're here, we're then going to be stepping a foot in between the hands. For most people it won't reach the hands first attempt. So what you'll find is your foot will come to here and then you can drop the knee, lift your chest up, to step the foot, and then we come into a lunge. So don't worry about the foot reaching the hands, that takes a bit of practice. So everybody coming to the top of the mat, feet hip distance apart, so a comfortable distance, standing distance for you. Hands to the heart. Inhale and reach the fingertips up. Exhale as you fold forwards. Inhale, halfway lift, palms onto the shins, spine is long. Exhale as you fold. Stepping the right foot back even. Right knee comes to the mat. Inhale, reaching the fingertips up for your lunge. So this is our low lunge. We want our knee and ankle to be roughly lined up, or the knee slightly further behind. We don't want to be pushing over. Belly button is drawing in a little. Hands can be reaching up, or you can rest them onto the thighs. Whichever option that you're in, just take a moment to see how it feels. How much sensation can you feel on your hips? It'll be different for everybody. Can you feel this left foot into the mat? From here, we're going to press down through that left foot, and we're going to press down through this right knee. If your hands are up, let them come down by the body. And we're going to be pushing through the feet and the knee, and imagining you're trying to draw your legs together. It's not going to look like much, it doesn't look like I've moved at all, but I can feel that my legs are active. And this is about strengthening our muscles in these stretches. So one more breath here. And then let go of that activation. Take a breath. And then let the hands come down to frame the feet. Tuck the toes. Step that left foot up back. Plank pose, hips come down, belly button draws in. Exhale to lower down. Inhale to lift for cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog or child's pose. So again, perhaps soften the knees. Feel the hands pressing into the mat. You've got one more breath here. On your next exhale, we're going to step that right foot in between the hands, or as close as it can get. Let the back knee drop down, and then shuffle that right foot forward any amount. Back into our lunge. Perhaps you're reaching the arms up, or you're resting the arms down. And just checking that knee and ankle are lined up, belly button draws in. Hips can sink as far forward as you can keep that core engaged. Feeling the right foot onto the mat. And then we'll make it active. So press down through that foot, press through the back knee. Imagining you're trying to draw your legs together even though they don't move. Hands can come by the body. Couple more moments here. Feeling that strength in the legs. And then release the activation. The legs relax a little. Take a breath. And then let the hands come to frame the feet. Tuck the toes. Step to the top of the mat. Folding forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale into fold. Inhale to reach the fingertips up to the ceiling. Exhale in, hands to heart center. Same on the other side. Inhale, reaching up. Exhaling as we soften the knees to fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale into fold. Left foot goes back. Left knee comes to the mat. Inhale to reach up for your lunge. So again, the arms can be up, but you're welcome to rest them down if you need to. Feel free to adjust the feet. If you would like to, taking a moment to notice, where can you feel the breath? One more. On your next inhale, the hands come to frame the feet. We're going to add a twist. So as you exhale, the right hand will lift up, reaching up towards the ceiling. Press down through that left hand so the shoulder is supported. Pressing down through the right foot. If it feels like your hand is too far away from the mat, feel free to have a cushion underneath for a bit of support. Another breath here. Inhaling, hands come to frame the feet. Tuck the back toes. Step to plank pose. Draw that core in. Exhale, lower the knees. Lower the chest. Inhale to lift for cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog. Or child's pose. We hold for 4 breaths. You can be still, or you might bend one knee and then the other, adding in a little bit of movement. On your next exhale, stepping the left foot in between the hands, or as close as the foot will get. Inhaling to reach up, right knee is on the mat. Shuffle that left foot forward as much as you need to. Arms reaching up or resting onto the leg. And again, perhaps taking a few breaths here. On your next inhale, hands come to frame the feet. As you exhale, the left hand reaches up for your twist. Pressing down through that right hand, and again, if you need a bit more height, perhaps add a cushion or a block underneath your right hand. Pressing down through the left foot. One more. Inhaling, hands come to frame the feet. Tuck the toes, step to the top of the mat, folding here. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhaling to fold. Inhale to reach up. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Lovely. Any movement that you want to take. Feet a comfortable distance apart. Hands come down by the body, coming into mountain pose. Palms facing forward. You choose whether you'd like to close the eyes or find a point to focus the gaze. Pressing down through the feet, lifting up through the legs. Open through the shoulders. And then pressing down through the right foot, hands come to heart. As you exhale, picking the left foot up off the mat. Any amount, the toes could still be touching. You might be hovering off, you might pick right up, that's fine. Find a point to focus the gaze. And then if you would like to, starting to take some circles with the feet, helping to mobilise our ankles. You can continue in the direction you're going, or you might change direction. And then when you're ready, we're going to step this left foot back. And we're going to come into Warrior One. So take a moment to find a comfortable stance. This back foot, the toes are slightly turned out. The feet can be as wide and as far apart as feels right for your body. We're bending into that right knee. We're drawing in through the core. And you might just take a moment to find the right place for your pelvis. So perhaps tipping the pelvis back and forth until it feels comfortable for you. Hips are facing forwards. And then inhale to reach the hands up, or to bring the hands onto the hips. So this is your Warrior One posture. Just take a moment to see how it feels on your body. What's your body's variation of Warrior One? This is what mine looks like, but chances are everyone's is going to look a little bit different. You're welcome to take those moments to adjust. The legs need to be a little bit further apart. That's fine. If you need to change the arms or widen the palms, you're free to do so. As long as there's support from the centre, move however feels best for you. Once you've found your variation, perhaps drawing your awareness to the parts of the body that have contact with the floor, down to the feet. Perhaps push the toes into the mat. Press the heels into the mat. Press both feet into the mat. Noticing what you can feel. We're going to be here for another 2 breaths. If the arms need a break, feel free to give them one. On your next inhale, we're going to bring the left hand in between the shoulder blades. We're going to bring the right hand onto that left elbow, adding in a stretch for our shoulders here. Taking a moment to see what this feels like on the shoulders. Again, knowing you can ease off if you need to. Perhaps feeling into the breath. Where can you feel your breath in this posture? In some postures it's not as strong. You might not feel it as much, and that's okay. Perhaps count the breath if you would like to. One more. And then gently releasing the arms. Any movement that you want to make. When you come into pyramid, you might want to step your feet a little bit closer together. Hands come onto the hips. So we're going to straighten into our front leg. With this posture, the main thing we want to think about is keeping the hips level, drawing that right hip back. Inhale to reach up through the crown of the head. Exhale, start to fold forward from the hips, keeping that right hip drawing back. So once you find the stretch on the back of your leg, just pausing there for a moment. At this point, I like to soften into the knee a little, so perhaps try and see what that's like for you. And then you can let the hands stay at the hips. You can bring them onto the leg. You could bring them onto the floor. Any lower back problems? Do you keep your spine straighter? palms onto the hips or the legs. If your back is comfortable rounding, you're welcome to round the body. We're going to take a few breaths here. Perhaps feel the feet onto the floor. One more breath. And then bending into that front knee, draw yourself up, step to the top of the mat. Any movement that you want to take. Hands come onto the heart. Inhale to reach up. Exhale in as you fold. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale into fold. Step both feet back to plank. Inhale, draw that belly button in. Exhale to lower down. Inhale to lift for cobra. Exhaling, downward facing dog or child's pose, 3 breaths. Seeing where you might feel the breath here or feel the contact with the floor. On your next exhale, stepping both feet to the top of your mat, folding forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhale into fold. Inhale to soften the knees, reaching up. Exhaling, hands to heart center. Any movement that you need to make. We're going to do the same on the other side, so feet a comfortable distance, hands to the heart. Inhale, picking that right foot up any amount. Take a moment to find a point to focus the gaze that will support you. And then perhaps adding in some of those circles. Almost forgot them. Circles with the feet. Perhaps going in the other direction. And then when you're ready, stepping the right foot back. Finding your warrior one legs on this side, so pressing down through the feet, perhaps widen how far apart the legs are, lengthways, widthways, bending into that knee, in line with the ankles so the joints can support each other. Drawing in of the core, and again, you can have adjust how much you're tucking the tailbone or not to see where feels right for you. Drawing in and then perhaps lifting the arms or resting the hands onto the legs. Knowing that in each posture in this class and in all of my classes, you're welcome to adjust and change. You're welcome to come into another posture entirely. That this is your practice. And that you can make it what you need to get what you need out of it. Noticing how Warrior One feels for you on this side. What's this variation of Warrior One like? Perhaps feeling the feet into the mat. Actively pushing them down. What does that feel like for you? You're going to be here for a few more breaths, so if you want to take a little bit of movement, the shoulders need a bit of movement, feel free to do so. And then this time the right hand comes in between the shoulders, the left hand draws in. Again, you're welcome to adjust as you need to. Perhaps noticing where you can feel the breath, and if you like the counting, you're welcome to add that in. Inhaling for 3, exhaling for 3, or any variation of that. Or if you prefer to just feel the breath or feel the feet on the floor, you're welcome to do that as well. One more. And then gently releasing. Again, any movement that feels good. And then straightening into the left leg. We're coming into pyramid, hands onto the hip. So this time it's the left hip. You'll want to do this. Try and keep drawing it back if we're facing the front of our mat. Inhale to lift up. Exhaling as you start to fold forward. When you start to feel some sensation, or if you start to feel some sensations, just taking a pause. Decide if you'd like to soften that knee a bit. And then option to stay here, option for the hands to come onto the leg, or perhaps the hands to come onto the mat. Again, just be mindful of your back if it tends to be sore. You might have the spine a little straighter. Keep drawing that left hip back. Couple more breaths here. And then gently bending into the knee. Kind to stand at the top of your mat. Any movement that feels good for you. From here, we're going to step 1 foot back, so we turn long ways on our mat. So you turn whichever way means that you can still so comfortably see your screen. Feet as wide as feels comfortable for you. We're going to start with a wide-legged forward fold. So the feet are parallel or the toes are slightly turned in. Again, you could try both and see which one you prefer. Hands onto the hips. And again, take a moment. You might take an inhale. And as you exhale, start to fold from the hips. Just gently moving into the posture. Now, at some point you might start to feel a stretch across the back of the legs. Or you might just feel like this is as far as you can fold. And once you're there, the hands can stay onto the hips, they can rest onto the legs, or they can rest onto the floor. Again, if your lower back is tight, perhaps walk the hands further forward, have the spine straighter, chest lifted, or the hands onto the shins. If your hands come to the mat comfortably, you're welcome to explore walking the hands back so the fingers and the toes are in line. If the backs of your legs are tight and therefore there's a lot of sensation, you might soften the knees a little bit as well. So there are a few variations that you can take in this posture, and it's really about which one you would like to explore today, responding to any intense sensation you can feel. Couple more breaths. Bending into the knees, gently bringing yourself back up to standing. We're going to walk the feet in a little, but still fairly wide. And we're going to turn the toes out. So we're going to come into goddess pose. So the main thing to think about in this posture is we want the belly button to draw in so we're supported in the centre of the body. It's a strengthener for the legs, so that might be where you feel it. But as we inhale, we draw that belly button in, and as we exhale, we start to bend the knees, coming as low as you would like to today. You decide where you stop. And just take a moment to think about the knees. So the knees may want to do this, and that's because it takes some of the activation out of the legs. But we want to try and keep the legs active so the knees are supported and they're strengthened. So we keep pushing out through the knees, so you want to feel that here. The belly button draws in. Again, sometimes we feel like we want to lean forward. Just seeing what it's like to lift up a little. You can have the hands resting on the legs, or you can bring the hands to mirror the legs. Now, depending on your body, some of us are going to feel this one pretty quickly. I am one of those people. I can feel this posture almost immediately when I come into it. And that might just be how much you've used your muscles already, or not used your muscles. We're either waking them up or we're using some muscles that are tired. Sometimes it's about where your hips line up as well. So we're going to hold for another 3 breaths, but you are welcome to come in and out and shake your legs off as you need to. Last breath here. And then release, give the legs a little shake. And then stepping the feet in towards each other. We've got one more standing posture. We're going to come into tree pose, so we're balanced tonight. So again, feet a comfortable distance. One of the ways to find that is if you just take a little hop, wherever they land, is sometimes a good idea of where your feet are placed naturally. We're going to start by picking one foot up off the floor, and we've got a few options. We could bring the foot to the ankle, toes stay on the mat. We could bring the foot to the thigh, or you could pick the foot up and bring it in to, this is the thigh, your calf was your second option, into your thigh here. Letting that knee come out towards the side any amount. Find a point to focus the gaze. This will help with the balance. And then your hands can come to your heart, or they can reach up above your head. Now, whichever variation that you take, it does not matter how much you wobble, whether you have to come in and out of the posture, whether your toes are still on the mat. Balances are here for 2 things. One, they help us physically. Improving our balance is good for long-term physical health, and we do that by practicing. And 2 is that no one can ever keep perfect balance. Not in yoga, not in life. So balances help us to recenter, and the only way to learn how to recenter is to wobble in and out. You don't build those skills, those muscles, the psychological strength without coming in and out first. So each time you wobble, refocus the gaze, refine the physical posture, and just taking a moment. 2 more breaths. And then gently releasing the arms, releasing the legs. Any movement that feels good for you. Same on the other side. Or you can repeat the side that we've just done if that works better for your body. So foot to the ankle, foot to the calf, or picking the foot up towards the thigh. Generally we don't place the foot onto the knee joint simply because there's a bit more support on your thigh and your calf, which is going to help you to find that centre. Find that point to focus your gaze. Your challenge is to keep your focus on that one spot, training your attention. Hands perhaps at the heart, perhaps they're reaching up. Accepting the wobbles. Perhaps you can feel that standing leg onto the mat. Perhaps you can push down a little. Or perhaps you can feel your breath and you can bring your heart onto your chest or your abdomen. Each time you wobble in and out, taking a moment, refocusing the gaze, refine the posture, refine the ground or the breath. One more. And then gently release it. Again, any movement that feels good for you. And then come to stand at the top of your mat. Hands to your heart. Inhale, reaching the fingertips up. Exhaling as we fold forwards. Inhale, halfway lift. Exhaling to fold, step both feet back to plank. Inhaling here. Exhaling to lower down. Inhale to lift for cobra. Exhale, pushing back to child's pose. You might widen your knees a little. The head might come to the mat, and again, we're going to be here for a few breaths, so if you'd like a pillow underneath the head, feel free to add one. Perhaps noticing all of the points where the body has contact with the floor. Or noticing the breath, perhaps seeing if there are any sensations of breath in the back of the body, into the back of the ribcage. And then on your next inhale, releasing the hips. Bringing the legs out in front of you, working your way to lying down onto the mat. Perhaps draw the knees in towards you. You can place your palms onto the knees. Take some circles with those knees. Moving in one direction and then the other. And then knees over the hips, arms out wide. On your next exhale, you can bring the knees down to one side for a twist. If that feels quite intense, bring the feet onto the floor, or if your lower back is sore, and then twist from there. And that will just help to ease off a little bit. A couple of options to think about. You can draw the knees more towards the arm or further away. The knees might be stacked, or there might be a little bit of a gap in between them. Final thing to think about is whether the gaze is up ahead, or whether you would like to send the gaze over to the opposite side to the knees. We're just stretching out here. So perhaps noticing the contact with the floor, the rise of the inhale, the fall of the exhale. Two more breaths. Inhaling back to center, exhaling over to the other side. And adjust the knees as before. Move them a little bit away or move them closer towards the arm. Adjust the gaze. And then a few moments to settle. Feel the contact. The inhale. The exhale. Inhaling back to center. Exhaling to release. We're going to come into Shavasana, resting posture. So if you want to grab a jumper and some socks, feel free to do so. You might let your legs come out long. Arms can rest by the body or onto the body. You might have the feet flat, the knees coming in together. If lying down on your back does not work for you, you're welcome to come into a seated position. We've got a few minutes here. You're welcome to close the eyes or find a point to focus the gaze. Just taking a moment to scan the body as we did at the start of the class. How do you feel physically after you practice? Some things might be the same, some things might be different. Taking a moment to notice how you feel generally, emotions, energy-wise. And taking a moment to decide if you'd like to draw your awareness to the contact with the floor, or the breath, or a mix of the two. If it's the floor, that's noticing if there are any sensations between those contact points. If it's the breath, noticing the sensations of inhale and exhale, counting the breath if you would like to. And then starting to bring a little bit of movement to the body, fingers and toes, ankles and wrists. Taking any bigger movements or stretches that your body might be calling for. You might draw the knees in once again. And then maybe rolling onto one side or rocking yourself up to a comfortable seated position. Sitting however feels most comfortable for you. Perhaps bringing your hands to your heart center. Take a moment to acknowledge the work that you've done, for coming to your practice, for giving things a go, carving out this time to be present. And if you would like to join me for one more breath Inhale. Exhale. Thank you very much for joining me. Namaste. If you have any questions, feel free to get in touch. And if not, I'll either see you in class or at the next online one. Thank you.